2023 NFL Draft is in the books, and for the 49ers, it was a draft of luxury. We're going to talk about that right here on the Wayne Breezy Show. Stick around.
Breezy this, breezy that. They know I'm gold-blooded. I got the Niners on my back, you know. Breezy this, breezy that. Ain't nobody working like Breezy, and that's a fact.
What's going on, faithful? It's your boy Wayne Breezy. It's Monday. It's Monday. We are back. We are live. We are in living color. It's good to be back. The draft day was a success, in my opinion. I don't know how you guys are feeling out there. And we're going to break all of it down. We're going to recap the draft. We're going to talk about some of the things that happened prior to us actually selecting a pick. We'll talk about trading up, what that meant. We'll talk about our cap space. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about today. So make sure if you're watching now, hit that like button. Don't forget to comment, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. All right, that's at The Wayne Breezy. So youtube.com/@TheWayneBreezy. Shout out to all the members of the Breezy's Bunch. One time, y'all in the building for sure. Jax Knox is in the building. Good morning, Breezy. This weekend was long and great. I'm excited about some of our picks. Let's have a great show. I appreciate you. Marty Mars in the place with the hashtag BB. Coach Cruz is in the place with the hashtag BB. My boy Mo's knows hashtag with the BB. What's going on, fam? Nia is in the place with the hashtag BB. Peachy, good morning, everyone. Smash that like button on your way in. Hashtag with the BB. Let's take 6, guys. That's what this is all about. Mike and Kim, happy May Day, fam. That's right. Today is May 1st. May 1st, and that means something, and we'll talk about that as well on the show. Miss Debbie says, good morning, Wayne. New month, new goals for all of us to reach. Blessings to everyone in the chat. Hashtag BB. Uncle Scott's in the building. What's up, Breezy and family? Troy's in the building. All the Breezy Bunch members are here. I see you. I see you. I see you. If you're not a member of the Breezy's Bunch, go ahead and click join right there on the side of the screen, and you can become a crew member of the Breezy's Bunch, right? You'll become a member of that BBC crew. Look, I think I finally got some rest. I don't know about you, but I slept yesterday. Like, I didn't mean to take a nap. I did the Ryan Hensley show. That was a fun show, too. Shout out to my man, Ryan. If you're not subscribed to his channel, make sure you go ahead and do so. But that was a fun show. And then I was going to work out after that, but I'm not an afternoon workout person. I'm a morning workout person, like before everybody wakes up. And it was either work out or go get the cat's cat food. I chose to go get the cat's cat food, and I knew my body was tired, right? I knew my body was just like, it didn't want to work out. Shout out to my boy Steve, man. Steve, you had fun this weekend, and I'm jealous. Steve was at the I'm not sure what you want to call it, but he was getting memorabilia signed, and he got to meet some of the greatest 49ers of all time, including Trey Lance. All right. So that was pretty cool. But no, seriously, like I went to go get the cat food. And then when I got back in, I ate. And then after I ate, I went to bed. And then I woke up like an idiot. That's the idiot part, man. I woke up. That means I was up to probably 2 or 3 in the morning, just trying to create content. Since I was wide awake, I was like, I might as well use this time wisely. So yeah, but I'm glad to have gotten some rest. The draft weekend was long. It was just a long process. Shout out to John Chapman from 49ers Rush. What an amazing time we had on Thursday night. Peachy and myself was over there. We had a great time, bringing in the draft with John and my man Chuck. What an amazing time. It was almost like we were there live. I thought that was really cool. Shout out to my boy John Chapman. Then on Friday, it was like, what's that wrestling match? The Royal Rumble. Friday and Saturday were Royal Rumble matches. Shout out to Mike and the Nothing But Niners crew over there, Tony, NY to the Bay. What a great time we had over there with the Nothing But Niners family. Peachy, Moles, we all joined. Shout out to Terra Dome. Mariah was in the building. What a great time. John V was in the building. Shout out to Mike for extending his family and putting out the platform. Round of applause to my boy Mike. I thought that was a great time. I mean, it got heated, it got hot. People left the show. There was some bad words. It was just a long ass day. I think what happened was the stuff that gressed on that day. It just caused all kinds of things to flare up. But it ended well. Saturday was even longer, right? So Saturday was even longer. And if you were there Saturday, woo, we did a bid, 7 hours, 7+ hours. And shout out to those that stuck around. But I mean, we must have talked about everything under the sun. But enough of that. Let's get to some of the latest in 49ers news. I know you guys want to get down to the get down. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, listen, don't forget to go to twben.com/shop. We got draft day t-shirts. You can see the shirt says the pick is in. It's got the Niners and the saloon font. It's so weird because the camera's mirrored and I can't get my directions right. All right. Anyway, right now we're doing a promo sale. So there's 10% off. It's going to last throughout the month of May. So for the month of May, you can get 10% off. I put the promo code already there in the comment section. For those that aren't watching, I'll make sure I put the link and the promo code in the description of the show. You could save 10% on the NFL Draft Day Niners shirts. All right. So make sure you guys check that out. Shout out to my man Ty, he's just pumping the stuff out real good, man. Shout out to my bro Ty. All right. But let's go ahead and get down to the nitty-gritty of the 49ers. All right. So this is how it kind of kicked off, right? So day 2, just doing a quick recap. Day 2, CMC and the 49ers, they restructured his deal where they were able to give him some money up front, like about $8 million, which kind of like softened the cap a lot. And it kind of freed up money for the 49ers to have about, I would say, $11 million, like a little bit over 11 mil. All right. And so that's pretty cool, right? Because the 49ers needed money to sign their draft class. And here's the interesting thing, right? So only the 3rd round picks, I believe, were going to go against the top 51. And so they were able to sign their draft class, and it didn't cost them more than like $300K. Crazy, right? We had 3 third round picks, right? We moved up and we drafted 2. So 3 third round picks. It didn't cost them more than that. How interesting. Because now the 49ers have about $11 million, over $11 million too. Let me make sure I got my numbers right. Shout out to Jason Hurley. He put this out. The 49ers were to sign their draft class right now. They'll have about $11,019,206. All right. It's only going to cost them about $369,156 to sign the draft class. That will count against the salary cap. All right. That will count against the salary cap. And so I think that's super interesting because the Niners freed up some bread. And the question is, why? Right? Why are they freeing up so much cap space? And look, the Niners can potentially sign some more free agents to their team. The roster is not filled. They got to get to the number 90. All right. And so I want to talk about what today starts. May 1st allows teams to sign free agents, not just the 49ers, but allows teams to sign free agents. Okay, where it won't count against the compensation for the upcoming year, right? So it'll hit us the next year. So it won't affect the compensatory picks of 2024 if they sign a free agent now. Henceforth, probably why they freed up some money and probably why they waited a little while and now they can go out and sign some other types of free agents. Which is pretty cool because the 49ers still may feel like they want to bring in a right tackle. They might want to bring in another defensive end, right? Good morning, Fernando. What's going on, bro? They might want to bring in some other guys as free agents. And the cool thing is they sign these guys to 1-year deals, okay? And in 2025, if those guys get those bigger types of contracts extensions, guess what the 49ers will get in return in 2025? Compensatory picks. It's something that the 49ers formula, like they kind of like figured out. It's crazy. It's super crazy. So I think this is dumb interesting that the 49ers chose to only sign one big free agent. That was Javon Hargrave, which offset the Mike McGlinchey big contract. He got his big contract, right? So it offset that, and they were able to get compensatory picks for Jimmy Garoppolo, probably Azeez Al-Shaair, some of those signings, right? So they'll get comp picks in 2024 for those guys. And then if these players that they sign now, especially after today, and they get a big contract going into next year, the 49ers in 2025 will get compensatory picks. So let's talk about some of these potential free agent signings. All right. And the first person that comes to mind, put in the chat, if the 49ers could sign a free agent, put inside the chat who you want that free agent to be. Put inside the chat who you want that free agent to be. All right. Now, I like what I'm seeing. I'm going to post everything that I see. DeMarcus Dixon says, bringing a guy like Tom Compton. That is the goddamn name I couldn't remember this morning on my morning run walk, right? I was saying to myself in 2021, when Mike McGlinchey was injured, we had a right tackle who came in. He filled the spot. He played well, which allowed Colton McKivitz to be the left tackle. He was the swing tackle, which allowed him to be the left tackle when Trent Williams went down. I could not remember Tom Compton's name. It's Tom Compton. I actually like Tom Compton coming in to compete for the right tackle spot. I think that might be the key. The Broncos got their guy in Mike McGlinchey. Keep Tom Compton's name. I talked about him early ago, like a long time ago, potentially being one of the free agents. Now the 49ers will probably be able to get him in, and they'll probably sign him to a one-year deal because they got Colton McKivitz for 2 years. I know that the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan talked about Colton McKivitz and how they're high on Colton McKivitz and things like that, but there's a possibility that they still bring in another guy. If Colton McKivitz is the best swing tackle on the team, you might want to keep him as your best swing tackle. But we'll see how things pan out. So Colton McKivitz. All right, let me get to some of these others. I see a lot of Yannick Ngakwe's. Gregus Khan says Yannick will probably command $15 million for a year. That's a lot. I don't know if it'll be $15 million. I think they can work out something where it's like an $8 million deal plus some type of incentives to where he can earn up to that, but it'll only count like $8 million to the cap. I can see something like that. You know what I mean? For Yannick Ngakwe. But a lot of people want Yannick in. I know we were talking about him potentially being one of the key free agents, but now do you kind of understand why they only signed one big free agent? They signed Javon Hargrave, gave him the big deal, okay? It's about compensatory picks. And so now that it's May 1st, they can go after and get a guy. It doesn't matter what the deal is or things like that. They can go out and get a guy and, boom. They can get them, and then it won't count against them losing compensatory picks in 2024. 49ers got plethora of picks. All right, I see some Frank Clarks up there. Hurricane 74 says Chase Young. Chase Young will have to be a trade, if I'm not mistaken. So Chase Young will have to be a trade, unless, and I don't think that the Commanders would release him. I don't think that they would release him. Bro Montana says bring back Robbie Gould. I think they're moving on from Gould. I think Gould is a clear move on. You know what I'm saying? Julio Jones. All right, bringing another veteran, older wide receiver that can't really stay healthy for more than 2 games. It's a possibility. If something happens, to any of the wide receivers that they have on there, it might be something that they decide to do. Justin Houston would be a good name too. I like the Yannick, but I think they can get more value from an older Justin Houston, a guy that can set the edge and can still rush the passer and be a mentor to the young Robert Bill Jr., to Drake Jackson. I like this one, Ken. I think Justin Houston makes the most sense. I really do. I think he makes the most sense. So, guys, there's some free agents out there. I don't see anybody. No one put out any type of tackles or anything like that because there are not really many out there. But there's some potential free agent signings that can go down. So pay attention to what's going on. It's May 1st. The 49ers can bring in a player, any type of free agent they can sign to these deals. Again, the 49ers freed up about $11 million in cap space. All right, they're going to have $11 million regardless. If they sign their draft picks, if they didn't sign their draft picks, they're still going to have over $11 million. So that's good news for the San Francisco 49ers. All right, it's going to be really cool and fun to see what ends up happening for the 49ers. All right, Let's talk about the draft. Let's recap some of the stuff in the draft. Actually, before we do that, I want to shout out Jacqueline Knox, who's been a platinum member of the Breezy's Bunch for 5 months. Shout out to Jax Knox for being a platinum member of the Breezy's Bunch for 5 months. That's almost half of a year. You're getting there. You're getting close. You're getting close. And also the Foghorn. She says, me and Breezy called it for Ji'Ayir Brown. I was right. How about we were right? And I'm just playing. I'm always right, period. For real, Breezy was on point about a lot of our picks. About three of the picks, I felt like I kind of nailed. But yes, Jax was advocating every show. Jax was advocating Ji'Ayir Brown. And you know, at 99, I kept mock drafting him at 99. I didn't do a lot of trades. I'm not a big fan on trades and mock drafts. I don't really care for the trades, but if certain players are available, especially Ji'Ayir Brown, every time he was available in a mock draft at 99, he was my first pick. And it made sense. We'll talk about that because we're going to recap the draft. But shout out to Jax Knox. Thank you so much for the contribution. And let's talk about the first pick. All right, the first pick, pick 87. The 49ers traded up in the draft to go get their safety. All I want to say is I told you so that the 49ers were going to go after a safety and early. And oh my gosh, they did it first. It only made sense. And it was making sense because, you know, the 49ers, like, they really didn't have blaring holes on this team. All right, we can upgrade at the right tackle. Okay, but we need to replace the safety. We have a safety on a 1-year deal. So at some point, when you're looking at your safety roster and you got 4 guys there, George Odom, Hufanga, Gibson, and I believe Tay Martin, one of them guys, right? When you're looking at your safeties and you're like, all right, how do I upgrade? How do I prepare for the future? You go out and you get the safety. Now, what did they get in Ji'Ayir Brown? And I'm going to tell you, Ji'Ayir Brown is probably the funnest is not a word, but the most fun safety in the league. And what they got in Ji'Ayir Brown, remember, I wanted 2 safeties in this draft, and I was advocating it was Brown and Brown, Zenni Brown and Ji'Ayir Brown. But what they're going to get from Ji'Ayir Brown is energy, ball hawking abilities, run stuffing abilities. Oh my gosh, doesn't he sound like Jimmy Ward coming out? Like Jimmy Ward was kind of like a ball hawk. The only thing that I like more about Ji'Ayir Brown is he's more instinctual. So he plays more for instinct. He kind of doesn't give away what he's doing. And so he kind of aids and embeds the quarterback to throw the damn ball to him. You're going to get a big hitter, right? And I think there's going to be tons of potential to see Ji'Ayir Brown on the field a lot quicker than the majority of the draft picks that we drafted, not just because we drafted him in the 3rd round, but because the way they can utilize him. He's going to be in on special teams. He might be in on, like, he doesn't have speed to like be a return guy, but he's a great tackler. And God forbid your gunners get down there and miss. You want Ji'Ayir Brown in there making sure he's cleaning up the tackle. So if your gunners get down there and they get the guy wrapped up, Ji'Ayir could come. And the one thing he does is force fumbles. Good morning, D. What's going on, Dion? The one thing he does is force fumbles. He can force turnovers. There was one play I posted on my Twitter feed, and if you go back and scroll through the Twitter feed, I don't know how y'all search. I posted it for a reason. A lot of people were upset that he didn't make the tackle, and I was trying to point out, but he hit the tight end, he threw the tight end off his trajectory, and then he didn't give up on the damn play. And now, since he didn't give up on the play, he forced the fumble. And then got the fumble. Then he recovered the fumble. Not only did he force it, he recovered it. That's when I was like, oh, this is the man. He doesn't give up. He doesn't give up on a play. And that was on a tight end. Imagine if that was a running back. Running back would have coughed up the ball so damn fast. Tight ends are bigger. And he was able to knock that tight end. A, he almost knocked him out of bounds. B, he didn't give up on the play, came back, forced the fumble, and then recovered the fumble all on the same play. So he had the hit for a loss, he had the forced fumble, and the recovery all on the same play. That's a special player. That's a Steve Wilks guy. Number one thing from Ji'Ayir Brown, Steve Wilkes is going to be happy. I don't care if he got 4.6 block speed. He can get to the quarterback. That speed doesn't matter when he's up on the line blitzing. I think we're going to see a lot of exotic things happening with Hufanga, Ji'Ayir Brown, and it'll extend to Sean Gibson, who's going to play your deep safety. There's times they might roll out there in some type of a dime package and have 3 safeties on the field, and one of the safeties acts or pretends like they're a linebacker. So in coverage, you got an extra safety. Don't act like y'all don't play Madden and y'all don't be cheating like those that play Madden be cheating. And what do I mean? Oh, they go put a safety at a linebacker spot. So every time you try to throw the ball, there's a faster dude that has great coverage skills covering somebody. Cheaters? Well, the 49ers look like they're going to be cheaters and drafting Ji'Ayir Brown, with their first pick. Second pick number 99 was Jake Moody. Jake Moody, in my opinion, was the best damn kicker in the draft. Now, listen, I didn't have him going round 3, but I did put out there the 49ers could potentially take a kicker in round 3, and would you be mad if it was Jake Moody? I had that going on Twitter for early stint of time, and everybody was going ham. You got to look, and Kyle Shanahan explained it, and this is what I was trying to explain. The 49ers didn't have any 4th-round picks. You knew in the 4th round they would potentially take a special teams player, kicker, punter. You knew that. How did you know that? You knew that. Mitch Wisnowski, damn it. You knew it. You knew there was a possibility that the 49ers would draft a kicker or a punter in the 4th round. Pick 99 is essentially a 4th-round pick. If it wasn't for the compensatory picks that pushed some of the numbers back that we were rewarded, it would have been a 4th-round pick. So essentially, the 49ers got their kicker in the 4th round. And then it didn't make sense till Saturday. See, on Saturday, it made more sense when New England traded up 8 spots. They traded up 8 spots to get a kicker. We didn't have to trade up to get a kicker. We traded up to get our safety for the future, but we drafted a kicker right at our spot. The Patriots traded up 8 spots to get the second best kicker in the draft. The Patriots, 9 times out of 10, and this is why the 49ers did this. Exactly, Ronnie. And this is why the 49ers did this. If the 49ers didn't take Jake Moody at 99, and let's say they waited to 101, okay? Right behind the 49ers were the Raiders. The Patriots don't give a gosh darn 2 cans of cans. They will trade away picks. They don't care about draft picks. They care about getting their players. Bill Belichick, if you know like I know, would have traded with the Raiders and drafted Jake Moody at 100. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't, because that's Bill Belichick's game. And just like he moved up 8 spots in round 4 to take his kicker, the kicker from Maryland, you get what I'm saying? So no, it's not a sexy pick. It's not a pick that you want to waste a high draft pick. What high draft pick? It was a 3rd round pick, and it was a compensatory. It wasn't even our damn pick. How about that? We got Jake Moody essentially for free. We didn't have any 3rd round picks. These were all rewarded picks. Let's look at it like that. You got a free pick, and you used it on a kicker. To me, boom. Troy says kickers aren't football players. Not in my book. Kickers are football players. Hell, Robbie Gould had to make some tackles last year and the motherfucker got injured. That's a football player. That's a football player. Gregus Khan says Harbaugh said Moody reached legendary status at Michigan. Let me tell you about Moody. Moody walked on and beat out a recruited kicker. So you tell me if this kid don't got the balls. He walked on and beat out a guy they recruited to come in and kick and then became the kicker for 5 years. There was one game, and I talked about this on Ryan Hensley's show yesterday. There was one game, the 49ers drafted 3 players from one game. Jake Moody was one of them. I'll get to all 3 of them on the recap. I promise. All right, so our next pick, all right, now we're moving into, still in the 3rd round. We drafted tight end Cameron Latu, or Latu. I'm not sure how you say or pronounce his last name. I definitely want to make sure I get it right going forward. And so this is the tight end. right, out of Alabama, right, the tight end out of Alabama. And so essentially when we drafted him, it didn't really make sense. It wasn't resonating in my spirit on why, if we went tight end, why it was him. And it's still unclear to me. And it's nothing against him. It's against kind of like how we're built. So I'm gonna try to put this together for you. This is my picture, my theory on how I'm looking at it. You got Charlie Warner and you got Ross Dwelly on the end of their contract. See, we're not even talking about the tight ends. They got 1 year left on their contract, and George Kittle's out, starts next year as well. All right, so 3 tight ends essentially on the last years of their deal. So if the 49ers wanted to kind of walk away from Kittle because he's not producing or whatever they kind of can, is the out in his contract. But let me just tell you, this kid can score in the damn red zone. That to me served the purpose. It means that he'll be more of an inline blocking tight end, but when they get down to the 13 person, when they get to the red zone, okay, the 49ers, and I'm not talking goal line. Usually on the goal line, you'll see 13 personnel. All right, that's 1 running back, that's 3 tight ends. All right, that's 4, and then that's your 1 wide receiver. Why would you put out 3 tight ends? Because now you got weapons at tight end. Right? It's not your Charlie Warners and your Ross Dwellys, who I still feel like can catch the ball, but there's other things he struggles with, like blocking. Cameron Latou is automatically going to be a better blocker than Ross Dwelly, and then all he has to do is come in and show that he can catch. That's what I like about him. I had to go out, watch the film, watch some tape, make sure I understood, and I think that's where they're going with this. Your 2 tight ends need to be replaced for next year. You drafted 2 tight ends in this draft. The first one up was Cameron Latou. That was a guy that they felt like can come in right away and kind of like replace or, be that new or upgrade over Charlie Warner. That's kind of where I'm going with Latou. He'll be the upgrade or replacement over Charlie Warner going into 2024, right? Or he might beat him out in 2023 and be your tight end too. Just saying. I'm just saying. So show Cameron Latou some love. All right. I'm not saying he's a excellent blocker. I'm not saying that. But in the blocking scheme, he can give you good blocks, but he also is an excellent touchdown red zone threat. And if the 49ers get to that red zone and they just wanted to come out with a different look, put 1 running back in that backfield like an Elijah Mitchell, which means they're going to come in harsh, right? With Elijah Mitchell opposed to Christian McCaffrey, or put Christian McCaffrey in there because he's your best pass catching running back, or they can fake it to Christian. It's just so many exotic things you can do when you have 3 tight ends that can actually kind of like do the same thing. He's not a yak guy, but around that goal line, if you give him the ball, he'll get in the end zone. He knows how to find the end zone. Cameron Latou, jump into the 5th round. This is one of my favorite picks. I got this pick circled because he's one of my favorite picks. Darrell Luter Jr., been watching a lot of film on him this past weekend to make sure I understood why the 49ers drafted Darrell Luter Jr., and I'm going to tell you why. Steve Wilks is aggressive. You heard Fred Warner say that he wants us to be more aggressive. And since Steve Wilks wants you to be more aggressive, he went out and got one of the most aggressive cornerbacks in the draft, Darrell Luter Jr. When I'm talking about aggression, I'm talking about this is a kid now. He was highly he had 17 penalties according to PFF. I got to make sure I put out where I'm getting my information from. But according to PFF, he had 17 penalties throughout his career. Not in one season, just throughout his career. He had 17 penalties the 3 years he played college football. All right. And the reason why is because his style, the way he plays. He is a press, jam up corner type of dude. He has long arms and he can jam you up, and he doesn't play so far off like we've been seeing our cornerbacks play. Like he's going to be man-to-man lined up on you. The thing that I loved about him the most was at the Senior Bowl, watching Darrell Luter Jr. play and one-on-ones, I mean, he didn't allow any completions. He drew 1 flag, but he didn't allow any completions. And I don't think the flag was on him. But he wasn't allowing completions, not in the slot, not outside. He's better outside, but he has the speed to play inside. How cool is that? He's better outside, but he has the speed to play inside. And if you throw it to him outside, good luck, because that's where he becomes a ball hawk. He has the ability to out-jump the wide receiver. He has the ability, and the way he plays corner, like if you're an outside wide receiver, he's using the out of bounds line. Isn't that dope? Like he's using the out of bounds line as an extra defender. So he's already pushing your receiver out of bounds legally. And that's forcing the quarterback to throw the ball more out of bounds. And because of his abilities, he's able to jump up and grab the ball, which gives him his ball hawking abilities. I like that, Ty. Let's talk, Ty. That's talk. When I move, you move. Just like that. Let's talk, bro. That's it. That's a shirt. Let's get that up. It's so crazy, man. It's so crazy. I love Darrell Luter Jr. Great pick for the 49ers. Robert Bill Jr. was next. And I didn't like in one mock draft when we did our big board, I talked about him a lot with the Nitty Gritty crew. Tony was there. I talked about Robert Bill Jr. a lot. He had crazy speed, but he was on a crazy depth charted type of team in Georgia. So when he saw the field, The one thing he did consistently was get to the quarterback. Like he has zero problems rushing the quarterback. Zero problems rushing the quarterback. Zero problems rushing the quarterback. Like things he needs to work on for sure, but zero problems getting to the quarterback. And I think with the 49ers, I kept saying, what was the thing I kept asking for off the edge? Speed. That's the only thing I said. I didn't care about anything else. I said we need a speed guy. And I watched all my speed guys get taken off the board. And then there was Robert Bill Jr. still available, sitting, waiting for the 49ers to draft in the 5th round. Keep an eye on these 2 5th-round picks, Darrell Luter Jr., Robert Bill Jr. Robert Bill Jr., in my opinion, year 1 will be utilized on those NASCAR packages. Now you can get the official NASCAR packages. I'm talking 3rd and longs. And when we say NASCAR, think of fast car racing. And so now you could put speed on the outside, opposite power and hand tactician from a Nick Bosa, who they're going to double up more than likely, which will free up Robert Bill Jr. on the outside. And people are going to be like, well, what about Drake Jackson? Drake Jackson's gift is his bend. So if he got his football body ready to go, he has the ability to get under the tackle, making the tackle overplay, and he can get under the tackle to get to the quarterback. And I like Drake Jackson because of his ability. He's like, I call Drake Jackson Mr. Fantastic. You know what I mean? I call him Mr. Fantastic. That's how I look at Drake Jackson. He's Mr. Fantastic. He can get the ball up. He can get the ball. He gets his arms out. He gets his hands up. He's batting down passes. It's crazy. So Robert Bill Jr., Drake Jackson, that's going to be a scary tandem. 2 young boys out there, man, going to make a name for themselves this year with the 49ers, especially under Chris Kosaric. Chris Kosaric got some love for sure. And then they went D. Winters. They went with a linebacker, D. Winters, inside linebacker, TCU. Remember I was talking about that one game? Remember I said there was one game. The 49ers drafted 3 players. Here's one of the second player. Jake Moody was one. In that game, Jake Moody kicked the 59-yard field goal. He didn't miss. In this game, D. Winters was just the unstoppable force. I mean, he had picks. He had sacks. He did everything in this game. He was the man. I didn't know who he was until this game. I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm sitting there watching the game. I'm like, who the is he? Like, that was my take. He was disruptive the whole game for Michigan. I know we lost by 6, but he continued to make plays. And I don't think Michigan was able to counter the speed from the defense, and they were able to counter the running quarterback in Max Duggan. I think that's kind of like what it was. But D. Winters was a force. I will say this, the 49ers drafting D. Winters with their 6th-round pick. The winter is coming for sure. I can tell you that the winter is coming for sure. He can blitz. He can cover. He can blitz. He can cover. The winter. D. Winter is coming. I like that. D. Winter is coming. Ty, D. Winter is coming. Ty, I'm telling you, I know you watching, bro. D. Winter is coming. All right, that was the 6th-round pick. Let's get to the 7th-round picks. We had 3 of them because we traded one to move up to 87. And so the first 7th-round pick was tight end Braden Willis. Now, a lot of people were high on this tight end because he was more of a playmaking tight end. All right. The one thing that I noticed from Braden Willis watching his film was this guy just has the ability to get open. He's a good blocking tight end, solid blocking tight end, but man, he can get open. Footwork is superb. Footwork is superb, meaning he doesn't have the breakaway speed, to get open, but he has the footwork to put you in the ookie jukes. That's what I like to call them, the ookie jukies. He puts you in the ookie jukies. That's crazy for a big guy to have this type of stuff. Now, he can also line up in the backfield. He can run. They can do so many different things with him. Hence, Ross Dwelly's on a 1-year deal, and you draft a rookie and Braden Willis. The 49ers doubled up at the tight end position for a reason. There's 2 guys, last year's of their deals, 2 guys coming in looking to replace those guys. I like what the 49ers did here. All right. So dope. All right. So, Braden Willis, 7th round pick. Second 7th round pick was Ronnie Bell. Third player from that game. I'm telling you, man. Third player from that game. Had a good game. Had a great game. Now, I knew Ronnie Bell was going to be the pick the moment I met him and talked to him in Alabama. I was like, oh my gosh, you're a 49er. And I told him that. I was like, yo, you're going to be a 49er. He smiled. He laughed. We took the pictures. But what I watched from Ronnie Bell, and don't always look at their college stats. You got to watch them actually play the game. But in that Senior Bowl, the one thing he did consistently, it wasn't catch the ball. It wasn't score, because there was not much scoring going on in the Senior Bowl. The one thing he did consistently when he was out there was he was able to get open. And I'm getting open, in my opinion, for a wide receiver in Shanahan's offense is critical, because he's going to scheme plays and he's going to need you to do something when you get the ball in your hand, and that's who he is. You give him the ball, he makes a person miss. 4.54 speed, who cares? He makes you miss. His footwork is superb. They went back-to-back picks on guys with crazy footwork. When I'm talking about footwork, think Brandon Ayuk and how he puts people in the skates. Footwork, getting open, 3-cone drills, really low numbers, right? That's what you want from these particular types of players. Lower 3 cones, guys that can get open. And that's who Ronnie Bell is. He's not going to give you the high touchdown production, but he can line up outside and run with the best of them. And he has big catch radius ability as well. I'm not bigging him up because he's a Michigan guy. He's a 49er now. So at the end of the day, that's all it is. He's a 49er now. If you watched any of the shows in the past, he was always the wide receiver. It was him and Bryce Ford Wheaton. Those were the 2 guys. Sorry. That's who I liked. All it was the third meeting. Listen, guys, you go to a job and you go to interview 1, you be like, you nailed it. They call you back for the second interview. And you felt like on the second interview, they get to know you a little bit more. But then there's a third interview. The third interview, you got to be a stupid mother to mess that up, because the job is yours. That's how it was for Ronnie Bell. That's how it was for Ronnie Bell. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Kay, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yo, guys, go check out 49erswebzone.com. I wrote a new article on Undrafted. We're going to get to the undrafted guys. I wrote a new article on Kaylan LeBourne. Go check it out. It's really good. Really good. Had a chance to talk to him last night. And it was funny because as I was putting out a tweet, he was hitting me up, and I was like, but this is the information. This is what I got. And so 4-4 guy. Just want to put that out there. You're a 4-4 guy. I got it. And that's why I was like, I'm watching your film, and I'm like, yo, this dude's way faster than what they said he ran at his pro day. 4-4 guy. We'll talk about those guys in a second. I promise you. You can ring our bell. All right, our last 7th round pick, they doubled up again at 2 positions. They doubled up at the tight end, and they doubled up at the linebacking position. And they went and got Jalen Graham. Now, Jalen Graham, again, is a versatile linebacker. The 49ers, he was one of the first players that the 49ers met with, I believe, after the Senior Bowl. Like, he had one of the first visits. And then you never heard his name again. Like, you never heard his name until the combine. He performed at the combine. But Jalen Graham can play safety. Like, that's his size says he can play safety. He's about the same speed as Ji'Ayir Brown. And so now you got a linebacker that can play safety, that hybrid position. Remember what they were trying to do with Eric Reed, Marcel Harris? They ain't got to try with him. He can actually do it. He did it. Like, he played in the box. He played. That's where his limit is. He played in the box as a safety, and then he played as a linebacker. So Jalen Graham is going to be another piece that's going to be able to come in, right? Good tackler, not a blitzer, not a guy you're going to utilize in the blitz game, a guy you'll utilize in coverage. Coverage is key for the 49ers because offenses are coming out with 3 wide receivers just about on every set. Look what Seattle did. Seattle added Njigba, right? And so now you got to look at, all right, in my division, I don't care about anybody else, but in my division, how am I covering these dudes? And I'm not saying Graham can cover Njigba because he's going to be in the slot. That's why I like Darrell Luter Jr. Oh, you got a guy that's shifty in the slot, you're going to put in the slot? I'm going to put this kid on him who's going to get up in his face. Oh, man, I love it. I actually love what the 49ers did in the draft. I loved it so much. What's going on, Mimi? I loved it so much, I did my draft day grades. I put out a video. It's everywhere. It's Facebook, YouTube Shorts. It's on Instagram Reels. It's everywhere except for Twitter. Here are my draft day grades. All right. I'll just go through. And Ji'Ayir Brown, I gave an A+. Jake Moody, I gave an A+ too as well. Let me go ahead and write that in there. I gave an A+. And all right, so Ji'Ayir Brown, I gave an A+ for the simple fact that he can come in and potentially work and he'll eventually be the starting safety for the 49ers. So I gave it an A+. They needed a safety. They got the safety. They got the safety that they wanted. It's a Steve Wilkes guy. I love it. I gave Jake Moody an A+ because now they got a kicker that they'll probably be able to, that will kick for the 49ers for the next decade. I'm just going to say decade. I'll leave it at decade. And on top of that, when you look at Jake Moody, you're saying to myself, oh, they got the best kicker in the draft. All right. He might not have the most accuracy from 50 plus. The 49ers aren't looking to kick a bunch of 50 plus field goals. And look at what Jake Moody does, right? He can kick in all types of weather. I think that's key too. All right. 49ers are going to be on the road. They're going to be on they're going to be on the side of the country that Jake Moody played a lot of football in. They're going to be in Cleveland. They're going to be in Pittsburgh. They're going to be in those type of areas this year. So just pay attention to kind of like what the 49ers are doing. Cameron Latou, I gave a C-. I think he's going to be more of the work in progress type of tight end. All right. Darrell Luter Jr., I gave a solid B+ too. Robert Bill Jr., I gave an A-. Okay, I think Robert Bill Jr. may have the most impact, and that's going to be the question I'm going to ask you guys in the chat. Which one of these players you feel will have the most impact year one, other than Jake Moody? I forgot to say I think Jake Moody will lead the team in scoring as well, but the most impact other than Jake Moody year one. D. Winters, I gave a B+. Braden Willis, I gave a B-. Ronnie Bell, I gave a solid B. And then Jalen Graham, I gave a C+. And overall, when I averaged out everything, I got a B. I got a solid B. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to know what your draft day grades overalls were. What was your overall draft day grade? And Christina K.O. Flattery, I saw that. Yes, Cameron Latou was definitely working out with the tight ends at tight end U. I like that. He's getting a head start. You know what I'm saying? I love it a lot. He was getting a head start. Most impactful player, draft day grades. Peachy, she says Robert Bill Jr. Greg believes in he got the B. My man Kyron got the B- on the grade. Troy says Bama players are trash. F-. Hey, some are, some aren't. Let's hope we learned our lesson. We got a good guy from from Alabama opposed to the guy we drafted from Alabama. Oh, Hakeem Wright gave us an A+. I would love to know your thoughts and on how you gave us an A+ or why you gave us an A+. I didn't see Greg Kuiper's grade, but I can understand why. Guys would give us low grades. They graded the trade more than likely, and they felt like there were a bunch of players on the big board that we should have probably drafted. Everybody says that we should have drafted the offensive line and things like that. Marty Mars says B. My man Cole says B as well. We got Uncle Scott with the B. Grizz says an A. I like that. Robert Bill Jr. as most impactful player. Yo, the moment we drafted him, I was like, damn, we got a dog. Literally, like a dog. My man Vince is in the building. Yo, my man Wayne, my man, what's good? We got Ronnie Bell and Jake Moody. Let's go. I guess the Niners want to copy Warriors, Moses Moody and Jake Moody. But great draft. Go Niners. I appreciate you, man. Make sure you check out his podcast as well. All right. E Nice says B minus, B plus from Crazy Juice. Forever Blessed says A plus. Love the kicker, points, baby. Yeah, a lot of people aren't realizing that the kicker is your leading scorer just about every year. And he led Michigan. He broke all the records at Michigan as the leading scorer. Well, not the leading scorer. He's in second place as the leading scorer at Michigan, but he broke the longest field goal record. I'm sorry. Let me make sure I put out the right information. All right. Yeah. And a lot, it's gonna be interesting to see. I think they got great potential in this particular draft. And I'm agreeing with you that said that Robert Bill Jr. will be the most impactful player other than Jake Moody this year. I'm agreeing with you. Now, guys, if you go to 49erswebzone.com, they have a list of the undrafted free agents. You can see we got Joey Fisher, offensive lineman tackle from Shepherd, excuse me. We went with the offensive lineman, I think is Lim Manning. All right. He's from Hawaii. They got another DB and Avery Young from Rutgers. All right. We got 3 running backs. Ronald Awatt from UTEP. We got a fullback, linebacking combo, Jack Coletto. I gotta pause on Jack Coletto for a second because I was watching his film. I didn't even see him play fullback, but he's a linebacker. You know what else he played? Quarterback. And he got an arm. Now, I don't know about his accuracy in the short passing game, but damn, he could get the ball down the field. Jack Coletto, we got some studs from Oregon State. You got a center in Corey Luciano from Washington, another DB, Deshaun Jameson from Texas. Also, defensive lineman Spencer Wage. Let's talk about Wage or Wagey or however you say his name. This kid was a defensive end at North Dakota State, sacking Mickey Fickies. I mean, god dang. He's big. He's a big guy. He's a big guy. You can check out all the breakdowns. All you got to do is go to 49erswebzone.com and check out the breakdown. I feel like I'm missing somebody up here. I am. One of my favorites, and let me go ahead and add him in here. Running back. Oh, no, there he is. I just didn't see him. See him on the scroll. All right, you got, let's see, running back Kaylon LeBourne from Marshall, who started off his career at Florida State, finished his collegiate career at Marshall. He's definitely probably my favorite undrafted signed free agent, like my favorite. Why? I'm a running back guy anyway, so I have a little bias there. But first of all, his breaking tackles and yards after contact is through the freaking roof. Through the roof. Like literally through the roof. And he finished the season with over 1,500 yards. And he was top 10 in running backs. And I don't know how he went undrafted, but he was on the same list as Bijan Robinson and many others. Matter of fact, let me tell you who was on the list. I'm sitting here like I don't have the list. Let me tell you who was on that list. I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm like, oh, god dang, this dude was a problem. Broke just about every record. Here's who was on that list as rushing yard leaders in 2023 in college. You ready? Brad Roberts from the Air Force, I believe. Dwayne McBride was up there. Mohammed Ibrahim was up there. Chase Brown from Illinois. My guy Tajay Spears was up there. Bijan Robinson was number 6. Quinshon Judkins, 7. Deuce Vaughn, 8. Carson Steele, 9. And Kaylon LeBourne, number 10, 1,500 plus yards. Now, PFF has him like 1,535. This Fox has him as 1,513, but the dude was just all over the place with his rushing yards. I got my stats from PFF, so if some of the numbers were scaled up, oh well, the more the merrier. The kid's a beast. I don't know how he went undrafted, but guess what? He signed with the 49ers. And it makes it interesting because I'm saying to myself, like, all right, the 49ers got some studs at running backs. And I see y'all comments already, but we're not going to start this up on my show. I promise. I do want to talk about, we did get another linebacker, Mariano Sori Marin from Minnesota. All right. That would be the linebacker that they got. But here we go. We got some crazy joints. I know a lot of people are high on Fisher. Of the undrafted guys, I want to know from the undrafted guys who right now is your favorite as the undrafted? I do like Joey Fisher from Shepherd. I believe the 49ers were looking at not Tim DeMore, Tyson Bagent, and then they found this kid. I think that's kind of what happened. Look, I see Jeffrey Meyer says Fisher a beast. Fisher a beast. I like that. A great one, 765 says, we're not trading Mitchell this season. Yeah, we're not trading him this season. The draft is over with. The draft is over with. My man Conrad says LeBron, then Fisher. I think it's in that order too. And then Jack Coletto. You got to go watch the kid play. Oregon State, fullback, linebacker. He goes both ways. Pause. But he can play quarterback. The 49ers haven't signed a quarterback yet. I'm just saying. That's what his film shows. He has highlights. He has film. It's going to be crazy. I'm just saying. I like Fisher. Scott Hill says Fisher. Peachy says definitely Fisher. Hakeem Wright says Joey Fisher. You guys just haven't seen LeBron play yet. I can promise you that you haven't seen LeBron play, because the moment you see him, you're going to start questioning the running backs on the 49ers roster. And I can't wait to have that episode where we start talking about, the guys that are could potentially make this roster. I'm lost. LeBron looks like he can be running back too. And y'all know we love Jordan Mason. TDP's going to get a shot. Elijah Mitchell is still here and healthy. He's a problem. It's going to be so crazy and fun to watch training camp, this upcoming training camp. You know what I mean? It's going to be so crazy and fun. Not funny. Not funny at all. But the 49ers are doing their due diligence. They do not have a full roster as of yet. They have money to where they can sign some guys and things like that. It's pretty. The 49ers are in a great place. And I titled this show, The 49ers 2023 Draft was a luxury draft. And there's a reason why I titled it Luxury Draft. The 49ers, to me, for the first time, didn't have to draft for necessity. They didn't have to draft for need. They didn't need a position being filled. They didn't need this one player to come in and to fill a spot. Right? They had maybe one in a possible, if you guys play spades, one in a possible holes to fill. Or maybe two in a possible holes to fill. Right? Two in a possible. Safety for next year. You signed Tashawn Gibson to a 1-year deal. I think having Ji'Ayir Brown to learn under these guys, he will be utilized. Don't get it twisted. He will be utilized. Do not get it twisted. But the thing I love about this particular draft was the 49ers didn't have to draft for need. They went out and got players that they wanted. It's a big difference when you go get a player that you need and you're hoping it pans out. The 49ers went out and got players that they want that can fit this team and already make an impact the moment they step onto the football field. Those 9 picks that I mentioned all have potential to step onto the football field. When I look at these 9 players, all right, I'm going to put this back up here. Ji'Ayir Brown, Jake Moody, Cameron Latou, Darrell Luter Jr., Robert Bill Jr., D. Winters, Braden Willis, Ronnie Bell, and Jalen Graham, they can have impact, whether it's on special teams. And don't forget, a lot of people sleeping on Ronnie Bell because they're like, oh, there's better wide receivers they could have got. Probably. John Lynch said this, and I'm going to leave you guys with this. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. I didn't do a poll question today. I do got a couple of super chats, and we'll get to that segment. But John Lynch said this, and he was talking about, how things kind of work out, and it's not about getting a guy. It's about getting the guy. Getting the guy is way better than getting a guy. And this particular draft, because it was a draft of luxury, the 49ers didn't have to settle for a guy. They got the guy for these specific positions. And I want that to sit with you for a second. And then when you see stuff start to pan out and come to fruition, you'll start to understand what John Lynch meant by getting the guy opposed to getting a guy. They got the kicker that they wanted. They got the safety that they wanted. They got 2 tight ends at the guys that they wanted. They got Darrell Luter Jr. at cornerback, 2 linebackers that they wanted, that they feel like can be the guy. All right. And then they got the receiver in Ronnie Bell that they feel like is the guy. They didn't care about speed. They didn't care about all these different types of intangibles that we look for, these measurables and all these different types of things. They wanted to make sure whatever guy they brought in here was going to come in and compete day one. Competition. It breeds champions. I tell you that right now. That's exactly what that means. I got a couple of super chats we're going to get to. All right, my man Forever Blessed is in the building. He says, what's up, Breezy? What's going on, Playboy? I hope things are going well for you. And I got the one and only Sean Shepard in the building. He says, Elijah is only a prob one game, then IR. Listen, he had a bad season last year due to injury. But the moment he was on the field, let's not have amnesia and act like this Mickey Ficky wasn't effective. He was so much effective that teams couldn't stop the run game because it was like you brought in a fresh running back with fresh legs that has a little bit more power, and teams didn't know what to do. He just couldn't stay healthy. That's, to me, I don't know how you give up on that particular guy, especially when he was a 6th-round pick. I don't know if you give up on an Elijah Mitchell. It's going to be really hard to see if they cut an Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell came into camp ready to go. I don't think they cut an Elijah Mitchell. It's just not, that doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. But what makes sense is that the 49, if he's healthy, he's a problem. Your 1-2 combo is crazy. The issue is who's going to be that third running back? Because the 49ers typically only keep 4, with including the fullback. So who's going to be that guy? They'll keep 4 running backs, 1 fullback. That's a total of 5. My apologies. But as far as being active, only 3 will be active every week. And it's hard for me to move on from a guy like Jordan Mason. I know we didn't get to see a lot, but it'd be hard for me to move on from a guy like Jordan Mason because of the value he brings on special teams. And if you need to close out a game, he's the bell cow. Can't nobody tackle this Mickey Ficky. You want to talk about break tackles? I think Jordan Mason came into the league and coming out of college with I hope this number is right because I remember doing my research. I think he had like 63 explosive plays plus 10 yards. It's a big ass number. 63? Dang. Jordan Mason is a problem. Everybody wants to see more Mason. Everybody wants to see that. And so it's going to be interesting to see that. We got one more super chat from Jax Knox. Kalon L is going to be a problem. So now I got Jordan, Kalon, and Ji'Ayir. Okay. I could dig it. And thank you for the contribution. That's what I got out of this. But listen, you're right. You got Kalon and it's I don't see how he can't if there's one area of weakness for Kalon LeBourne, in my opinion, it would be his pass protection. It would be his pass protection. Now, he only gave up 1 sack throughout his collegiate career, if I'm not mistaken. I think I have his stats pulled up, actually. All right, so in his collegiate career, he only gave up 1 sack, but he gave up a total of 10 pressures. And so for those that don't understand the pressures are made up of sacks, hits, and hurries. Sacks, hits, and hurries. Those 3 categories make up the total pressures. So throughout his career, he gave up 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, but 8 hurries. I think in 2022 in Marshall, he gave up 8 hurries and 1 quarterback hit. And I think that would explain why his pass blocking grade, according to PFF, is like a 45.6. It explains why it's a low. Those pressures hurt you as a pass blocking guy. If you're going to be a pass blocker, you have to hit. You have to make sure that your quarterback doesn't change the trajectory of what your quarterback has to do. So for a sacks, obviously that means he gave up the sack. The guy got to the quarterback off of his block. For a hit, that means he blocked the guy long enough. The quarterback got the ball out, but the guy still hit the quarterback. But as far as the hurries, that means that he forced his quarterback outside the pocket to get rid of the ball a lot quicker. To me, that would be his only issue. That's it. That would be his only issue, in my opinion. And I don't think it's as bad. Watching it on film, I didn't think it was that bad. But according to the grading from PFF, when you give up pressures as a pass protector, you get graded lower because they watch every snap. Look, I'm excited to see what's going to go down with the 49ers. I thought the draft was a success. Hit the thumbs up if you thought the draft was a success. Hit the thumbs down if you felt like the draft wasn't a success. It's hard to say that in the same sentence. I had a blast. I love you guys. Thank y'all so much for the contributions. We'll be back on Wednesday for sure. All right. And we're going to break down some new stuff with the 49ers. Look, maybe there'll be a new free agent signing by then. I know a lot of people want Yannick Ngakoue on this roster. Well, they kind of set up to where they can sign a veteran. And they can find a way to pay him because they got about $11 million in cap space to do so. Sign a one-year deal. It's going to be super interesting to see how the 49ers continue to progress in the offseason and fill up the 90. Listen, thanks for watching. Like Peachy says, stay safe out there, man. Keep y'all heads up like my man Tupac says. I love y'all. Stay faithful and always keep it nitty-gritty. Speaking of nitty-gritty, there will be no nitty-gritty Niners tonight because the Celtics game 1 and 76ers play. I'm sorry. Basketball is trumping stuff because when it comes to the playoffs, I'm a different animal. Love you guys. Stay up, stay faithful. Thanks for watching. Peace.